You're listening to the Crew Book Club podcast, the show that challenges you to change your mindset through hearing about dope books. Thanks for hanging with the crew to get advice, ask questions, and gain knowledge with me, your host, Sade Hill. What up, crew? What's good? It's your girl, Sade, and we are ready to go for another episode of the Crew Book Club podcast. Yeah. I'm always excited and ecstatic to come on here. I was just talking to the YouTubers, right? And I was just like, y'all, can I please come up with another word other than excited when I do this? But that's just the word that comes to mind. So it just makes me so happy. We are on episode 30. Episode 30. Can you believe it? I can't. I can. I'm lying because I do this every week and I have my outline ready as always. And we just gonna hop into it. So the first thing we're going to get into is Wait, back it up. First of all, how y'all doing? How y'all doing? As always, I'm ecstatic to be on the pod. Life-wise, I'm good. I'm good. I was just listening to a sermon about timing is everything. And sometimes as a person, people who are driven and want more, we get caught up on what we don't see, but we're putting in the work. And it's like, it starts in the ground. We are planting the seeds, we're working it, and it just starts in the ground. And that seed could be taking root and growing, and we don't even see it yet. The message is bomb. It's called Timing Everything by T.D. Jakes. And it kind of gets into, so I hope you're feeling good. And if you're not feeling good, it's best to either listen to like music that's really going to elevate your mind. I love worship music. Listen to the Crew Book Club podcast, reading books, things that's going to make you feel good. You know what I'm saying? So you already know we're going to get into the first segment of the show. Who gonna check me, boo? God is, and he is always checking us. And we love a good check. We welcome a good check because it keeps us in check. Okay? So, this who gonna check me, boo moment comes from Busy Building. It was a message my pastor Tim Timberlake preached at Celebration Church. And you know, the last episode I had talked about being okay with being Noah after listening to another T.D. Jakes sermon. And then Sunday, I get to church and he preaching about Noah. And I'm like, And if literally episode 29, I was talking about how being Noah and the rain hasn't come and how he was building his boat. People thought he was crazy and he kept going. And then the rain finally came. And my pastor preached it from the perspective of like the door being closed on the ark and it not being allowed open until the rain had subsided, you know, and it opened at the right time, which goes back to the message I was just listening to this morning by T.D. Jakes, Timing is Everything. So, and all that is just being checked. A lot of times doors are closed to protect us or to keep us where we're not finished growing. And so I was just like, oh my gosh, yes. So in hindsight, it's like Noah built the ark by faith and it was built to last. So you might be doing something, you might be making a move that you don't even know what's going to happen, but it just feels right. And you know God is telling you to do it. So keep building in faith. And then all of it will come and the next door or that door will open at the right time. So yeah, check out that sermon. It's called Busy Building by Tim Timberlake at Celebration Church. And I will drop it in the show notes as well. So you can click on the link. Easy to find. Now, as always, I would love you guys to leave a review while you're listening right now. Go ahead and give me 5 stars and a written review on Apple Pod if you have it. I love hearing the positivity. I get motivated by it, y'all. Don't act like you don't like when people congratulate you for doing something or accomplishing things. And I would just love to share those on the podcast. We've had a few. We had like 2 back to back. So I appreciate that. And you leave a review. I share it on the podcast. I shout your page out if you want to drop your Instagram or your name. And I'll shoot that out too as well. So leave a review. All right. Show me some crew love. All right. So, we have the relationship with Audible. All the books that I read, I try to make sure it's on Audible. If not, I'll have a link for you to buy it. The link to buy Atomic Habits is in the show notes as well. And you can get a free 30-day with Audible. I know some of y'all are like, I be on the go, Be on the go, listen to the book. But I still highly recommend getting it because the type of books we read are like opportunities to highlight, to reference, and go back. And with Audible, you might not be able to reference and go back and highlight anything, but you can pause it and click where it motivated you and things of that nature. And also, Audible offers so many other things. So click the link in the show notes to get your free, capital FREE, 30 days of Audible. All right? Now, listen, chapter 10, how to find the cause of your bad habits. Okay. And chapter 11, walk slowly but never backward. So good. So first of all, it's like, where do cravings even come from? Like the underlying motives. Okay. On page 127, let's get into it. Hey, let's get into it. It talks about where cravings come from. And some of our underlying motives include conserve energy, obtain food and water, find love and reproduce, connect and bond with others, win social acceptance and approval, reduce uncertainty, achieve status and privilege. A craving is just a specific manifestation of a deeper underlying motive. At a deep level, you simply want to reduce uncertainty and relieve anxiety to win social acceptance and approval or achieve status. Don't act like you don't, okay? Listen to these examples. Find love and reproduce. Y'all be using Tinder. Or you get cute to go on dates and you going out with your friends. We want love, okay? It's okay. Connect and bond with others. Why you think we be on social media? Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever. Win social acceptance and approving. Posting. It's kind of like, well, I do it. It's not about doing it, the act of posting all the time or being on Instagram. It's like, what's your intent? Are you intending to motivate? Are you just intending to get attention and likes? Because that's not gonna lie. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not always the best. So it's not what you do, it's the intent behind it to me when it comes to how you handle social media. And are you able to turn it off? All right. Reduce uncertainty. Search in Google, med.com. Don't you go on Google and be like, well, what's going on with this, that, and that? And then it's like you got cancer. Okay. Achieve status and prestige. They have here playing video games, but it could be something else. All right. So it's like to understand the underlying motives to find the cause to the bad behaviors. And I think like this is why it's so important. I think it is important to understand where it comes from. So then that way we can check it. So it gets into this also in the same chapter. On page 128, it says habits are all associations, and the associations determine whether we predict a habit to be worth repeating or not. Our behavior is heavily dependent on these predictions. But another way, our behavior is heavily dependent on how we interpret the events that happens to us, but not necessarily the objective reality of events themselves. Two people, it gives a cigarette example. Two people can look at the same cigarette, and one feels the urge to smoke while the other is repulsed by the smell. The same cue can spark a good habit or a bad habit depending on your predictions. The cause of your habit is actually the prediction that precedes them. This is where your perception and their perception is our own reality. I believe that. And feelings and emotions transform the cues we perceive and the predictions we make into a signal that we can apply. Listen to this. You have been sensing the cues the entire time, but it's only when you predict that you would be better off in a different state that you take action. That goes back to being sick and tired of being sick and tired. When you're really tired of doing something, it's going to cue you to be in a different state, to take action. So important. That's why it's like we got to check our emotional asses at the door and figure out how to reprogram our brains to enjoy hard habits. Like I always say, y'all, it's a science to this, and we have to recognize it to make the change and be able to check the habit. All right? So this backs up my saying about it being a science. Neurologists have discovered that when emotions and feelings are impaired, we actually lose the ability to make decisions. We have no signal of what to pursue and what to avoid. Okay? Check your emotional behind at the door before you make decisions, because we are not in the right state of mind when we're in an emotional state or in our feelings. Okay? And it kind of makes me think when some people are like, oh, when I'm having an argument with someone or my spouse, it's like, we need to have a talk right then and there. And it's like, no, like sometimes when you're in that emotional state, you just need to fall back and take a break. Okay. So that way, when you are talking, you're not talking in defense mode. You're not being ridiculous and unreasonable. And we talked about that in boundaries, having reasonable needs. Okay. So, check your emotions. What else did we talk about in chapter 10? So, it also talks about this. You get to wake up early for work. You get to make another sales call, your business. You get to cook dinner for your family by simply changing one word. So, after we check our emotions, right? Let's reprogram how our brains work so we can enjoy those hard habits. All right. Just by changing one word. Listen to this. You don't have to. You get to. Doesn't that feel better? I even find myself saying that, oh, I have to wake up early. Oh, I have to do this. But when I change and be like, okay, I get to do this. I get to do that. And it makes a difference. It's a choice. I talked about that on a video on my realtor page about every day you wake up, you have a choice. You have a choice whether you're going to, I'm going to wake up, I'm going to journal, I'm going to read my Bible, I'm going to go to the gym, or I'm going to wake up, pick my phone up, stroll on social media for 20 minutes, roll out of bed, rush to work, rush to this, not do this, don't eat this, don't prep. Like, we have a choice every day. But it all starts with our mindset and our choices, right? So let's listen to these examples on how we can pivot on how we view things. Exercise. You could say, instead of saying, I need to go running in the morning, say, it's time to build endurance and get fast. I have this thing where it's like, let me talk to myself how I would talk to my friend, right? So if I'm talking to myself like in a negative way, why is it so easy to talk to ourselves so negative? But when we talking to other people, it's like, oh no, sis, you can do it. Go. Like, you go run. It's good for you. But then for you, it's like, I don't feel like doing it, or I can't do that. Like, no. So let's just say it's time to build endurance and get fast. That even sounds more exciting to say. Or I'm speaking to myself when I say this one. Finance. Associated with freedom rather than limitations. If you realize one simple truth, living below your current means increases your future means. That's what I constantly have to tell myself. I think a few episodes ago, I wanted the new Adidas that had dropped for Ivy Park. Green, my favorite emerald green, like that rich green is my favorite color green. And when I saw them socks and them shoes, I was like, oh my God, I want them so bad. But I was like, no, I'm gonna take a week. Y'all, I took the week and I didn't buy the shoes. Cause I understood I needed to continue to live below so I can increase my future means. Cause I don't want to be 60 and working. Okay. I bit want to be traveling. Okay. Meditation. I love a good meditation. I love prayer. I love being in that type of moment. And here it says, you can transform frustration into delight when you realize that each interpretation gives you a chance to practice returning to your breathing. Take a moment. These are good things for you. Pivot that. I would rather take a moment to do that than to be stressing myself out about other things. And having a clear mind and not being so emotional and wired about things. Well, being in meditation and taking just 10 minutes, 5 minutes, hell, 2 minutes to do that to calm your brain would be better. Okay, before you make a decision. I get a lot of jitters. I don't know if you guys, I had mentioned about standing up and doing this huge dawn task where my heart was beating out of my chest, where I had to play this particular game in front of a whole bunch of people when it pertained to my business. It was like round robin about the real estate business. And I was so nervous. And so here it kind of checked me just now. You can reframe I am nervous to I'm excited and I'm getting in an adrenaline rush to help me concentrate or to help me be better. That really touched me. So these little mindset shifts aren't magic, but they can help change the feelings you associate with a particular habit or a situation. So good. That was the top standouts for me in chapter 10. So that was the end of how to make it attractive. That was the second law. So let's get into chapter 11. But before we even talk about walk slowly but never backward, let's understand one of the big things that I stress enough is about therapy. And let's start making therapy attractive. I think having an attractive mindset and clear thoughts and understanding self is so sexy. Like, I was talking to a friend about dating, and I was just like, when it comes to dating, I feel like people should really be in tune with someone who's in tune with self. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could be fine all day, but if you're not in tune with your mind, you're not in tune with God, and you're not trying to do better, or if I meet somebody at my age, we're 35? I look good, child. At 30, being 34, it's like, okay, if I meet you, buddy, like, you ain't have therapy not one time. I know me, and I haven't dated a lot, but I'm just saying, like, I was like, girl, like, no, I feel like he need to have these certain boxes checked, or even tried or experienced therapy or talk to someone, because you can't tell me at 30 something years old you haven't experienced some type of trauma, relationship trauma, suppressing feelings, especially supporting, like, Black men, and me being a Black woman, and how I feel like we got to carry it all and be superwoman. And that's why me partnering up with BetterHelp was so important, and having them sponsor my episodes, because it was like, I actually use it, first of all, and therapy actually helps. It really does. So definitely check out the opportunity that we partner with BetterHelp to get 10% off your first month. That's it. BetterHelp.com/crewlove. It'll be in the show notes. Y'all, I do not give you stuff that I haven't done or tried, and I know it works. All right. So let's make the second law, make it attractive. Let's make therapy attractive. All right. So, and also BetterHelp makes it easy, which is part of the third law. Yes, make it easy. So chapter 11, walk slowly, but never backwards. All right. There is definitely a difference between motion and taking action. Listen to this on page 141 through 143. It talks about it. How long does it actually take to form a new habit? Okay. Some good facts here. So in chapter 11, it starts off with the story of a Jerry, don't judge me, I might say this wrong, Esselman, a professor at University of Florida, divided his film photography students into two groups. The left side of the classroom, he explained, would be a quantity group. They will be graded solely on the amount of work they produced. And then the right side of the room would be in a quality group, graded only on the excellence of their work. They will only need to produce one photo during the semester. What group y'all think won? The one for quantity or the one for quality? You'll be surprised to find out that the best photos were produced by the quantity group. Okay? So these students were busy taking pictures, experimenting with compositions, lighting, testing other methods in the darkroom, learning from their mistakes, and the process of creating of hundreds of photos that honed their skills. Quality group sat around speculating instead of speculating about perfection. Oh my God. That spoke to me because I used to have this thing where things needed to be perfect. Like this podcast needed to be perfect. And it wasn't. It's not always perfect, but I do it anyway. The more I do it, the more comfortable I become at it, the more editing gets easier for me. You know, just the whole system of it gets easier because it doesn't always get easy. It just gets easier. But trying it and trying different things to see what works for you is important. Okay? Just because you did it one time or did it one way doesn't always mean it's going to produce or hone on your skills. Let's try different ways. And this is where it says here, we are so focused on figuring out the best approach that we never get around to taking action. I tell these with a lot of new realtors. It's like, oh, I need to learn. Yeah, you need to learn, but you also need to do, because you're not going to know what it's like until you do it. And then we use it as a defense mechanism. And I think we talked about that. It says, when you're in motion, you're planning and strategizing and learning. Those are all good things, but don't produce results. Action, on the other hand, is a type of behavior that will deliver an outcome. You being in motion is not going to make you have an outcome. I gotta actually have some action. Okay? Why do we even do that? It says sometimes we do it because we actually need a plan to learn more, which is cool. But you can't sit in it too long. But more often than not, we do it because motion allows us to feel like we're making progress without running the risk of failure. Ooh. That used to be me in the podcast, also in real estate. I was that person. That's why I be telling people, no, you won't know until you actually do it. It says here, it doesn't feel good to fail or to be judged publicly, so we tend to avoid situations where that might happen. Listen, y'all, like I can preach all day. It's important to get comfortable being uncomfortable and failing. I would rather be the person that's failing than the person that's not doing nothing at all. Okay? All right, walk slowly, but never backward. It says here, this is where when preparation becomes a form of procrastination, check yourself. Okay? You're coming up with all these excuses that I need to do this. And I'm reading this book. I'm learning how to this. And I'm like, well, did you actually apply yourself and go put some action in? Okay. That's like, I'm it's like, I'm going to write down my meal plan, the food I'm going to eat, and and when the times I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to research which gym is best. I got to But you never actually make it to the gym. It's like, all the exercises you say you're going to do. And all of this other stuff, but you're not actually putting in the work, okay? I would rather go to the gym and see other people doing weightlifting right. That's kind of how I learned how to lift a little bit. Watching other people, I see I kind of want that body. Okay, let me try to work that and how to make it better for me. So you got to put in action. Preparation is good, but don't let it become a form of procrastination. So good. Another question that we get a lot is, how long does it actually take to form a new habit? Listen to this. The more you repeat an activity, okay, the more the structure of your brain changes to become efficient at that activity. Neuroscientists call this long-term, I should have studied this word before I got on here, potentiation, which refers to the strengthening of connections between neurons in the brain based on recent patterns of activity. It's all a science. It's all in here. Your brain, you have to work that muscle. You got to work it. You got to work it for it to work. Okay? Repeating a habit leads to a clear physical change in the brain. Okay? All habits follow a similar trajectory, process known as automaticity. Told you I get tongue-tied. Which is the ability to perform a behavior without thinking about each step, which occurs when the non-conscious mind takes over. That means you do it without conscious. I was in a class yesterday and the teacher talked about this and I was like, oh my God. Clarity, clarity, clarity. Clarity is power. Bola. Okay. It's kind of like you don't wake up and think about brushing your teeth. You brush your teeth. Okay. And I'm telling you, from a person over 2 years constantly trying to go to the gym regularly for transformation in my mind and body, it's become automatic. It's hard for me to go. I think the longest I've gone without working out this year has been 4 days. Because my body's like, I need it. So check that out. A Google statement. It says this. It can take anywhere. Paper in your face. It can take anywhere from 18 to 254 days for a person to form a new habit and an average 66 days for a new behavior to become automatic. Okay? Listen. It's based on frequency, not time, y'all. That's what the book says. Right here. Page 145. Habits form based on frequency, not time. Okay? It's about you continually doing. Okay? This is something that was said. How long does it take to build a new habit? All right, cool. But what people really should be asking is, how many does it take to form a new habit? This is how many repetitions are required to make a habit automatic. Nothing magical about time passing with regard to habit formation. It doesn't matter if it's been 21 days or 30 days or 300 days. What matters is the rate at which you perform the behavior. So I would say, okay, if we know it takes an average 66 days to form a new habit, it doesn't have to, if you want to work out, it don't have to be 30 minutes to an hour. Like I said, I love a good 10-minute rule. Do it for 10 minutes every day. Trust me, over time, your body's going to crave it. The same as eating healthy. Choose one meal out of the day to eat healthy. Sooner or later, your body is going to crave it. Or you can do like the habit stacking where it's like, okay, if I eat a donut, I need to eat 2 apples. Okay? Like, there's no excuse, y'all. And that's what I love about this book. It gives you actionable plans to do. I'm going to read this last statement in chapter 11, Walk Slowly But Never Backward. You need to string together enough successful attempts until the behavior is firmly embedded in your mind and you cross the habit line. What matters is that you take the actions you need to take to make progress. Okay? So whether it's small or big, I'd rather you be walking. I don't care, girl. Crawl for all I care. But we don't need to be going backwards. Okay, keep that momentum. Keep that same energy. All right, so that was chapters 10 and 11 in our book, Atomic Habits. I hope you enjoyed it because I did. Remember, you can order the book, link in the show notes. All right, and I keep getting lipstick on my tea. Oh, well. All right, so the challenge of the week. Y'all, is pivot our thoughts. That's all I'm saying. Let's go from I have to I get to. Let's pivot. Oh, I get to work out today. I am building muscle. I am building confidence in myself. When it comes to financing, I am not going to buy that because I am saving for my amazing future. You know what I'm saying? So think about those things. Pivot your thoughts from I have to I get to. Yes, I get to do these things. I'm making choices for my life. I'm making my life better. I'm making my family life better. We get to make these choices. It's all up to you, sis. It's choices. And I would rather get to than I have to. All right, so that's the challenge of the week. pivot your thoughts. All right. Let me know how that goes. All right. Now, we didn't have no advice last week, and I guess y'all listened to me and y'all showed me some crew love. So this week, what would the crew do? Ask advice was super sweet because they kind of complimented me at the same time. Not like you don't love no compliments now. All right. It says, I notice you're always consistent with posting on Instagram and doing your podcast. I am struggling staying consistent with my goals. What is a good habit to practice staying consistent? We talked about this. We just talked about this. It's not just keep doing it daily. Continue to, rather, you can have one, like for me, one day I can have this really high productive day where I feel like I've accomplished a lot. And then I can have those days where I feel like maybe I didn't accomplish too much. But what I learned yesterday is funny in class about what I could do and what I should do. And so instead of having a to-do list, let's have a success list. So brain dump all those things, prioritize what needs to be done so you can stick to the habit that's consistent with your goals. So let's not focus on maybe like washing clothes to working out. What does that fall on your list of importance? If your goal is to get more fit, or if your goal is to open up a new business, what practices are you doing daily? And one of the things my bowl coach recommended was try to have that success list for the top of the morning. Your energy is high, you're up, you're alert, and then have those other things for later, even if it's at 12 o'clock. But you need to be consistent and putting in action to do those things. Another big thing, time management. That's what I'm saying. Like, block that time out for 12. For me, I'm like, okay, from this time to this time, I'm going to be at the gym no matter what. From this time to this time, I'm going to do this. 30 minutes, set the clock. Timer go off. If it ain't done, I need to pivot it and move it later on in the day if I could get to it. So definitely prioritize. Instead of having a to-do list, has a success list that you're doing things that apply to your goals. Okay? So that is my advice. Now, when it comes to Instagram, I had let my followers know on IG that there's things that I'm putting in place for the crew. So you might not be getting all the clips on social. So it's very important that you come and listen to the entirety of the episode. Okay. Check in with your girl here. They will be live videos posted on YouTube. I will be checking into social media. I just won't be doing like all of those clips and clips of the show, because I have these ideas that I need to apply them. Same as you. I have new goals. And remember, our goals shift. So once we reach a goal, it's like, okay, how can I make this goal better? And that's what I'm doing for the crew. So I'll be on there, but we're going to be pivoting some things around so I can bring more value to you. All right. So that was what would the crew do? Ask advice. If you would like some advice, DM the crew on Instagram. You can also email the crew bookclub@gmail.com. And if you're on YouTube, you can drop it in the comment section. I check those. Ask some advice, y'all. I love giving advice, and I'm going to give my best advice, okay? Okay. All right, so listen. Quote of the week. Can never end an episode without a quote of the week. The quote of the week comes from our author, James Clear of Atomic Habits. On page 129, it says, desire is the difference between where you are now and where you want to be in the future. Crew, where are you desiring to be? Thanks for hanging with the Crew Book Club podcast. It's your girl, The Sade Hill, and I will holla at you later. Hey! Want to be a part of the crew? Hit that follow button so you'll never miss an episode. And while you're at it, I would appreciate you showing crew love by rating the show on iTunes and Spotify. Don't keep all this goodness to yourself. Share and tell a friend so your whole crew can be growing with you. Let me be the first to tell you, welcome to the crew.